Every sign and every house, a journey starts and we allow the universe so vast and true. AstroViktor, it's here for you.
Hi, my dear Astro family. So today we are going to be looking at Mars conjunction to the South Node. We're going to be looking at how it affects vitality, work, health, routine, service industries, army, police forces, and so on, because some of the topics, some of those keywords belong to Virgo archetype, and the conjunction is taking place in the sign of Virgo. And we're going to be looking at the positives and the negatives, and of course, Mars doesn't only conjunct the South Node, but it opposes the North Node as well. And on top of that, Mars is in square to Venus in Gemini. So basically, we have a ground cross. And I'm also going to be teaching you about a asteroid as well. So stay till the very end. And if you would like to get your yearly report, I am producing them. Each of them are about 2.5, 3 hour long. I'm exploring the major archetypes that is happening in 2026. It's a very detailed report. I'm going to give you plenty of scenarios, how things could be working out. I'm giving you tips how to work with these energies. I even look at 5 major asteroids that are very prominent in 2026. So you can utilize this to your own benefit. And if you would like to get weekly reports, then you can join my YouTube membership, or you can go on my website, sign up for the program, and then you get approximately about 15 to 25 minutes videos each week, just connected to your sign. So each rising sign is approximately about 20 minutes in general, depending on how long, of course, or how many aspects we've got a week. But let's see what is happening with this Mars conjunction to South Node. So first of all, Mars is in Virgo, and Mars is in the planet of action, energy, aggression, drive. Now, Virgo is an earth sign associated with practicality, precision, analysis, service, health, routines, but also often it's about like a critical state of mind as well, though. So when we have got Mars in the sign of Virgo, the energy is actually directed towards meticulous work or organizing things or the desire to create something perfect. And on one hand, it can represent something that is really hardworking and efficient, but also there is this tendency to become overly critical, self-critical, or anxious about getting the details right. Now we've got the South Node as well. The South Node represents our past life patterns, ingrained habits, pretty much the comfort zone, but also it's a talent point as well that naturally comes to us. But often it's something that we might need to be able to release or at least transcend to evolve. And the evolving point is going to be the North Node. So with the South Node in the sign of Virgo, there is this strong past life tendency, again, towards perfectionism or analyzing things, focusing on the details, or doing certain type of routines all the time. But the risk is we can easily get stuck. So sometimes this point is something that is limiting, something that is holding us back from an evolutionary process, a growth. The North Node is in the sign of Pisces, and Mars is opposing that, which is, on one hand, it shows that it's something that we need to be able to develop right now. And the North Node in Pisces tells us that we need to move beyond the rigid routines, the perfectionism. We have to be compassionate. We need to rely on our intuition. We're going to have to become a bit more spiritual, less critical. Sometimes it's just going to have to surrender, go with the flow, and allowing things to happen in life. Now, it's also in square to Venus. Venus represents love, relationships, values, pleasure, aesthetics, things that we like and dislike as well. So it's in the sign of Gemini currently, which is an air sign. And air is all about communication and versatility, mental stimulation. So Venus in Gemini is about let's enjoy a conversation. Let's exchange ideas. Let's have a variety of experiences. Let's talk about different types of topics as well. So while Mars conjunct the South Node, I would say that this is quite intense though, because something that we might need to be able to cut out, or we are super motivated to get something fixed, or to get the health matters right, for example. Or I am analyzing everything that I do, but in a very meticulous, analytical way. Or even I'm so motivated to help others. Now, because Virgo is a health sign and Mars is a planet that is connected to vitality and energy, so it can indicate that you have got a very strong work ethic. You can overwork yourself. You can be even a little bit more on the discipline side when it comes to self-care. Maybe you want to do physical activities, something that might need specific routines or even precision as well. But negatively speaking, though, it can lead to burnout. It can lead to the energy being depleted. We can worry way too much. We can criticize the way we complete things. We can feel somehow not enough. And if we are stressed, it could lead to health issues. We can become obsessive over certain type of routines. Or think of work, which is maybe the positive is that we can get things done that requires precision, or we can organize the cupboards pretty quickly. Or we might even do certain type of a research, or we do all the administrative tasks. But negatively speaking, when things are not going right, we can criticize others and it could lead to conflicts. And maybe we think that, you know what, it's better me doing the stuff and I'm not going to delegate. So, or there is a risk of micromanaging people as well. And often we just focus on the small details that much that we cannot see the bigger picture. Or think of health, Virgo, which is about, okay, let's start a diet. Let's exercise. Let's be super disciplined about what we do. And negatively speaking, though, it could indicate hypochondria, being worried about getting sick or overanalyzing the symptoms, or we are too rigid with diet or exercise, and then I'm stressing out because I'm craving for a piece of chocolate, but I don't want to eat a piece of chocolate. So if we are nervous, that is affecting our digestive system as well as our nervous system. So potentially those can be in risks. Think of routines, which is it's great to establish certain type of routines right now during this transit. It is very good to promote productivity and create a sense of order. However, we can become dependent on routines, and then when we cannot get things done on time, then again, we might be stressing out. I mean, Virgo is a service sign as well. So, you know what, organizing the stock room, for example, um, or doing the administrative work, filing things away and so forth can be very positive to this aspect. However, again, maybe we go to a shop or a restaurant and the service standards are really kind of low, and then we are super critical about it and we can become demanding. Oh, I want better service. I want a refund and all those type of stuff. Or service, sorry, so Virgo represents army and police forces as well. So this could be great for training and kind of like looking at the procedures or investigating something as well. Negatively speaking, it could indicate, for example, being in an accident or criticizing someone all over again over certain type of procedures. Everything has to be done by the book. So we can be lacking adaptability. Now, because Mars is opposing the North Node, it is somehow showing, though, that Mars is driving us towards letting go these habits. It is a consciously created balance that we need to be able to do. Yes, you can be pulled apart between your comfort zone that has been established, and of course the need to embrace intuition and a less structured approach. So this is one way how we can approach the Mars and North Node conjunction. I'm still not talking about Venus, of course, because I just want to be sure that you guys get the idea about this Mars and South Node. Maybe it's also about like old efforts um, that you want to fix, or you have been trying to help someone for a very long time. Or you can even get angry for not being seen or seen useful, for example, or you getting angry because I don't want to be a servant, I don't want to be a slave to anyone anymore. So it's a trigger point here. I mean, you might have been an expert of fixing things, which is great, but why do you have to fix everything for everyone? And therefore, this Mars is teaching you to stand up for yourself. Now, you are energizing the past here, though. Um, so the past is getting somehow magnified. And what I say is that it's not something that you need to walk away from, but maybe it's no time now to fight. You don't have to prove your self-worth. You don't have to fix everything. Sometimes things have to be left broken because they cannot be mended. So somehow that Pisces North Node tells you to step away for a couple of seconds, maybe to look at the bigger picture, maybe realize that there is no point in fighting because maybe this is a fight I cannot win. This is also telling you that allow yourself to be courageous, allow yourself to try out new things. You don't have to be the slave of your own routines. So that would be the South Node and the Mercury conjunction. Now, let's take it a notch further because Mars is in square to Venus as well. And this is a tension. This is about wanting to achieve something. I mean, Mars, which is about action, and Venus, which is about desires, they are at odds somehow. Obviously, Venus is in the sign of Gemini, which is communication and intellect. And then we've got Virgo, which is analyzing things. So we can be very analytical, and someone is a little bit on the superficial side. And then it creates a friction, for example, in relationships. And we can get disconnected from things that are said or thought and are actually how we do things. And we have got desires, and then we potentially express our desires, but in a very critical or analytical way. And maybe it's even like an indecision right now, because we might be struggling to say out what we actually need. So, of course, this is creating a grand cross. And a ground cross is pretty much when we are pulled in multiple directions. It's an internal conflict. It's potentially an indecisiveness. The drive for perfection and being in service, comes together with this conflict, which says, yeah, I want to be compassionate. I want to be understanding. I want to let go. I want mental peace, for example. So I would say that on one hand, tension is often we can be grateful for because when there are conflicts, it makes us think. And it is becoming a motivator for growth. However, high stress levels from the internal conflict, you know, like the energy can be wasted. We are wasting the energy on something that is kind of like mentally going back and forth, and therefore we cannot make a clear decision. Or think of work as well, where Venus wants to be versatile and it wants to kind of try out new ways of solving the problem. But are we adaptable enough if we are reinforcing procedures, standards with that Mars in Virgo, or things how it's done by the book? So therefore, maybe what happens is because Gemini is a little bit more on the scattered side, that actually potentially the problem is that we are, yeah, kind of scattered. Um, we are jumping from one task to another, and then Mars gets angry. Why are you jumping all over the place? Can you not just focus on one thing? Can you not see that little tiny dirt there which needs to be wiped, and so forth? Or imagine with health matters as well, which on one hand is really about the mind and the body connection. Obviously, it's an air sign versus Earth. So the air represents the mind and Earth represents the body. So one is a little bit like holistic approach, and the other one is no, we're gonna have to go to the doctor, for example. And sometimes with Mars, even when we are stressed, we are not aware of it. We might be just going and then boxing and then kick and all those type of stuff. It's somehow an element of suppressing potentially that there is something wrong there. So this is the Grand Cross. However, there is Venus who is making a conjunction to Hygieia. So Hygieia is an asteroid, and she's named after the Greek goddess of health, cleanliness, hygiene. She's very much about a preventative medicine. Like she talks to us about self-care. We have to brush our teeth every single morning, not just because we don't want our mouth to stink, but also we want to kind of protect our teeth and the gums and all those type of stuff. So she is often very focused on how to make things better. It's kind of like a little bit of a cure, finding the not necessarily the cure, because cure is going to be more to do with panacea, which actually conjuncts retrograde Mercury. If you listen to my previous video, she is more to do with let's not even get there. Let's not even get into trouble. It looks like that, with Venus in conjunction to Hygieia, we want to be preventing a relationship going sour, for example. Or we are really careful with the words that we use. Or potentially, you value really good health and hygiene. And then maybe I'm looking out for information, and I want to communicate about those information that I found. And maybe I even enjoy discussing health trends, for example, or different type of diets or exercise routines, or you want to give health tips to others. You want to have mental clarity. It's very much about the protection of the mental mind. And in relationship, maybe you want to meet someone who has interest in well-being, someone who is ready to talk about, I don't know, COVID and all this type of stuff, but at least we are on the same wavelength. So, because we have got Hygieia, part of this Grand Cross as well. So, on one hand, it really feels like that we've got this mental drive for wellness. Let's say we just want to be, in a nice bathtub, for example, or I want to try out different type of health practices. I mean, it could even indicate that information about medical matters are going to come to light and people are going to get worried. This is also somehow proactive self-care. So we are kind of like asked to take care of ourselves mentally as well as physically. This is about if you want to be managing your energy level, then this is telling you that it's good to be doing assessment and trying different methods to kind of stay energized as well. But negatively speaking, this could really talk to us about mental overload. So Hygieia there is the mind. And then we can become obsessed somehow. Oh my days, I've got, I don't know, something on my skin. And then surely, I've got cancer, for example, because we want to do the health perfectly. But also, maybe sometimes the problem is that we are trying something out. And for a couple of days, Gemini, but then I get bored. And maybe I don't allow enough time to, to make its impact on us. So there is a lack of commitment potentially here. So this is Mars in Virgo with the South Node. But I can imagine what's going to happen is that, well, let me give you some things that I can imagine happening. Maybe there could be, for example, a lot more focus on health, hygiene, medics, paramedics, health and safety regulations, for example, or mental health support in the world. And there could be potentially a lot more talks about it. Remember that this is a cycle. So Venus and Mars are in square, so I would say that this cycle is going to last until about next year, January for sure. I would say that we might be doing a lot more investigations around vaccines, and maybe we're going to get some uncomfortable truth about it as well. And maybe there is going to be a certain type of training and education going on about health protocols or procedures and so on. So, if I want to give you some personal scenarios, maybe I can imagine that, let's say you wake up in the morning and you have got a bit of a cough. And, instead of resting, which is the Pisces North Node, uh, somehow, we are going to be doing the research of what is wrong with us. And then somehow we go on down on that rabbit hole. And then we start reading multiple articles. Maybe we are going to be posting something online, on health forums, Gemini, and so on. And then we get scared, we get worried. But what is the North Node in Pisces teaches us? You know what? Maybe you just need to listen to your intuition. You need to listen to what your body says to you. Maybe you just need to call in sick. You have to rest. Maybe you need a hot bath. Maybe try out certain type of natural remedies instead of focusing on mentally on that little spot on the skin. So if we are able to do that, then maybe you just want to do some like how's it called? Gargling salty water or drinking herbal tea, or I'm gonna meditate. I'm gonna calm down the mind. If we are able to do that, then stress level is gone. But of course, it could be work related as well. Maybe imagine that I go to work and then the filing cabinet is all over the place. So I'm gonna start reorganizing everything in alphabetical order. And then I'm going to have a very strong opinion on how things should look like, what is healthy, what's not healthy. But then you make a suggestion to the co-workers, Virgo, that this should be done this way. And then they are lazy, sloppy, and then they are rejecting the idea, or they just shrug their shoulders. So then you are like, where are your standards? Where are your hygienic stuff, so we can get into arguments. Or imagine that, I don't know, I run into a police officer, Virgo. Virgo represents uniforms. And without any type of evidence, but they are like, let's say they are very meticulously collecting evidence, but maybe they are not telling you actually what has happened, or you might be telling them that, listen, this is exactly what happened, but they are getting bogged down in overanalyzing something that maybe smells fishy, rather than listening to the witness. Okay? So just a couple of ideas of to understand what this aspect might be talking to us about. So thank you for being here, and I will see you next week. Take care. Bye-bye.
Through every sign and every house, a journey starts and we allow the universe so vast and true. Astro Viktor, it's here for you.